It's a little bit of a chill in the air today. It's just going to get worse as we get closer to winter. So are your bees ready for winter? Well, we're going to show you what we do to make sure that our bees will survive through those long winters, and we're going to do that right now. Hi, this is Todd from Sniping Rhino Ranch. In today's video, we're going to talk about getting your hives ready for the winter. We're about a month and a half away. We had a huge break in getting in our hives, about 8 weeks. In fact, some of the video will show this all overgrown. And our bees, we just didn't take care of them like we should have. And so last night, I just finished combining 2 weak hives. Because I want one strong hive to get through instead of a couple weak ones. And we went through and found out, hey, how are our hives doing? And the big key is they need to have enough honey. And so today's video, we're going to show you what we look for, and we're going to show you what we did to go from 7 hives down to 6 to give them a better chance of having all 6 hives make it through the winter. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming homestead related videos. But let's show you what we did. It's important that you know how bees react and what they need for the area that you're in. For us, we need 50 pounds of honey to get through the winter. You may need less, you may need more. If you're further up north, you're probably going to need a lot more. But whatever you do, you need to make sure you give yourselves enough time to start getting in these hives, seeing where they're deficient, so you have time to do something about it before winter gets here. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a lot of capped over honey. And so this frame right here weighs about 10 pounds. And that's a good way that I can figure out how much honey I have. If I have a frame that's capped of honey on both sides, that's 10 pounds. If only one side, it's 5 pounds. But that's how I judge how much honey I have. But this is what we're looking for. So this is one of the honey frames on the bottom. You can see they've got a bunch capped on this side, but this side is really empty. They're starting to put in honey, but I want this whole thing capped off, and most of my bottom box looks like this. Now this frame's the same way. They're putting honey in here, but it's really, I want this all capped. And that's one of the reasons why we're feeding our bees right now with a 1-in-1 sugar to water mix. So 1 cup of sugar for 1 cup of water. And we're feeding it, trying to get them to produce more honey. Once we get right towards the end, we'll switch to 2 to 1, 2 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water, to try to get them to just quickly build more honey. But when I do 2 to 1, the queen usually stops laying. And so I want to wait till the very end before I do that. So here I have a bunch of capped off brood. I've got larvae, and I have eggs in here. But I want to make sure that I have a laying queen that's making brood. And I've got eggs in these empty ones. So that means I have a laying queen and it's still laying. So that's good, that's what I want. So I've looked in this hive, and I've got plenty of honey in my top brooder box. And I've got plenty of brood. I've seen eggs, I've got larvae at different stages, so I know I have a queen that's still laying. But in this bottom brooder box, they haven't capped off all the honey. In fact, it's pretty light. That one's really heavy. But this one, they really haven't filled out the honey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch boxes, and I'm going to put this on the top to try to see if they can't build more honey in here quicker. A lot of times if you have an empty box on the bottom, you can flip it and put it up on the top, not flip the box, but you can switch places and put it on the top, and they'll build that out faster. So that's what we're going to try to do. And like I said, we have a month, maybe a month and a half before we have to shut these up for the winter. So I have plenty of time to make sure that's working. So now I got this box that's full of honey on the bottom. The thing weighs probably 60, 70 pounds. And a full brooder box can literally weigh almost 100 pounds. Now this one, which is significantly lighter, I'll just set this up here and boom. Hopefully that will cause them to start producing more honey up in this box that they don't have a lot of capped honey. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do for this. So if you look, I filled this up yesterday and they've drank a lot of water. This is that 1-in-1 sugar water. So they're sucking this down to make honey to get ready for the winter, and that's what I want. But I've got to make sure that I still have frames that they can put brood in. One of the dangers is they fill all these frames up with honey and the queen doesn't have a place to lay any eggs. So that's why I always want to really get my hives every week, every 7 to 10 days, to make sure that if they're filling all the frames up with honey, I'll stop feeding them so that they don't, run out of eggs or places for the queen to lay eggs. And that's it. That's really 2 things I'm looking for. Do I have a laying queen? I got plenty of brood. And B, do they have enough honey to get through the winter? And if they don't, what do I need to do to make sure that they do by the time winter gets here? Let's go check the other one. So you notice I have a super on here. And a lot of people will harvest their honey in the fall. I'm totally paranoid about my bees not having enough honey to get through the winter. So I always leave 1 super on my hives. That way, if for some reason we have a long winter, they have plenty of honey up here that they can get to keep make sure the hive survives. And if they don't need it in the spring, I've got a super that I can harvest right at the very beginning of spring. So when we did our hive checks, we found 2 hives that were pretty weak. And so what we're going to do is we're going to combine those 2 hives, because we much rather go into the winter with 1 strong hive than 2 weak hives. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to find the queen in this hive. We're going to kill it. And then later on tonight, right at dark, we will combine this hive with the other hive. And we'll put newspaper between them, and by the time they eat their way through that newspaper, the hives will be joined. So anyway, let me get to work and let's find this queen. So they're all riled up right now. What I did is I went through the frame by frame to find the queen, and I actually made a kind of a mistake, and I pushed that frame right up against 2 that I already checked, and sure enough the queen ran straight to those. So I got through to where the honey frames were, and I came back and was able to find it where it had gotten. Actually, I had started looking through. The guy who was with me, who has never done beekeeping, I don't know if we got it on film because the camera died, but he immediately was like, hey, that one looks different. It was the queen, I killed it. And so this is now a queenless hive, and tonight, when they're all inside here for the evening, we're going to combine this with our other weak hive and try to make 1 strong hive. But that's it for now. We're going to combine that hive and this hive. These are my 2 weak hives. I've already killed the queen out of that one. And so what I'll do is I'll take this one off. I've got 2 newspapers here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 2 newspapers over top. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it right on top of there. That newspaper is going to keep them apart. And the queen in this top box, I've killed it. They can't get out. They're stuck in this hive. And so what they'll do is they'll take them 2 or 3 days to eat through that newspaper. By the time that happens, the 2 hives will accept themselves, will accept the other hive, and it'll allow this to become just 1 hive, and then they'll just start moving down and going back. And because it's 2 or 3 days, they'll have reset themselves from over there. So now we're done, and it's just a matter of checking on the hives every week and making sure that they're doing what we want them to do. You know, the 2 key things is to make sure A, you have a laying queen, and B, that you have enough honey for them to make it through the winter. And if you don't, well, we switch some of our boxes around. We're feeding them, and in the case of 2 of our hives, they were the 2 weak ones, we combined them to try to make 1 strong one. Hopefully this video has helped you out. If it has, hit the like button and leave a comment. Tell us what you're doing to make sure your bees make it through the winter. And as always, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming homestead related videos. This is Todd from Sniping, Rhino saying, have a great day.